Alright, it's been a real long time since I've just done a random video, but here's a random video. And this one's going to be about a little project I'm working on called Initial Fantasy. It's going to be about this device here, a Raspberry Pi. I love this thing. Ever since I've gotten it, I've learned how to spell raspberry. I didn't know. I had no idea how to spell raspberry. Now I do. So I strongly encourage it. It's $35. But if you include this port, otherwise you can get a cheapo $25 one, but you need networking, come on babe. So, and then it runs Debian Linux. If you haven't heard about Raspberry Pi, it's awesome. These things, some of them are general input-output pins. You can connect your wires to them, and then do general input-output logic stuff. Some of them are 3-volt and 5-volt rails. And so if you connect wires to them, you will destroy your Raspberry Pi. I love it. I love it. Keeps you on your feet. This one is not destroyed. So kudos to me. It's got HDMI, blah, 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 blah. We'll get into it. No, that's all I know. It runs Debian Linux. It's real cool. Small enough to hide in a ceiling of a coffee shop. Hint, hint. Networking. USB port for wireless. It's cool. Moving on. So that's stop number 2. Stop number 3. There's going to be a lot of stops in this video, and it's going to be wild. So let's start out with the project called Initial Fantasy. Now then, Initial Fantasy is a project that I can't I use Linux now, and I can't trust it to record my screen anymore. So Initial Fantasy is, oh shoot, I don't know if I can mount this, but I've started using a language called Ruby and a framework on that language called Rails. So they call that Ruby on Rails. Basically the way it works is, here's IRB. And if you want to make an application that simply says hello world, you just type the command puts and pass in the string hello world. Okay, cool. And then it'll output hello world. Look at that. Look at Google adjusting. Ooh, not quite. Come on, focus on Google. You're better than that. Come on. Oh, Google. You're only good at watching us. Okay. So, hello world. It's done. It's all set. That's really cool. And notice that I typed that in an interactive shell. I came from the C++, C, assembly, and then C# world. And I was unaccustomed to this, but you can just check out code and see what's going to happen. If you're not sure what's going to happen, you get an integer from that. Ooh, I like it. I'm going to put parentheses around that, and then I'm going to use an object-oriented method called inspect. Ooh, and it gives you 4 in quotes. So it converts it to a string up there, right here. It was an integer. Anyway, kind of bland, a little boring, but awesome, right? That's an interactive shell. So that's Ruby. In a wonderful Linux Mint environment. Now, that was child's play, right? So there's something where I don't know how much to explain, but Ruby on Rails is the best language in the world, especially for creating games. Now here on my computer, I just type R_S, which is short for Rails/S. But before I do that, I'm going to install all of the dependencies this project has, and to install all dependencies you just type bundle, and that pulls out like stuff like curl, stuff like I don't even know what else, and it's all done. You know, you don't have to worry about it. With C++, the more dependencies you add, the more time it takes you. Like you have to research for days. Oh, how do I get curl to compile and then become a DLL or a .so or whatever? Yeah, dependencies suck. For C++, but Ruby eliminates that, because look at this, it's just automatically installing all of these dependencies. Oh, hey, cool. Alright, so it's finished. That's a good sign. Now I'm just going to type R_S, hit enter, and it's going to start up the server. And by server, I really mean like a web server, a web page. And if I navigate to this, hold control, and clicky, and here we are. Shoot, it shouldn't look like that. But now I'm going to type /game, if I remember correctly. Oh, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. It's all messed up because it's in the wrong thing. But I'm going to open up a new browser, okay? Control L. Anyway, This, I just went to 000. That's the same in Windows. You'd type 127.0.0.1 and it would bring you to the server. But then you pass in the, oh, come on, there you go. You pass in this portion, which is the port, of course, and it's port 3000. You can. Okay, holy cow! I was at the 5-minute mark, ran out of time on my phone. Sad. Cleared some space. Now we're back in it. I opened up Chrome because my game is only compatible in Chrome right now. Oh, hush. It's only compatible in Chrome right now, which is annoying and stupid. That's partly why I stopped playing it or developing it. But here's what it looks like. I've got this cool little FPS tracker because I was actually optimizing it, because the cool thing about making a web game is like you can instantly deploy it to any device. You know, Android, iPod, all that stuff. It instantly goes there. Now here's the game. It might look familiar if you're awesome. And if you're not, it's from the Super Nintendo world, okay? But I've updated it. So instead of like having a little menu pop up, these little bloop pops up, and then you can touch it, and then touch your enemy. But this isn't a touch screen, obviously. But that's how awesome I am. Okay, so you click, ooh, and it increases to, I mean, it does this weird effect. That's from CSS. That's a CSS effect. I didn't have to do any programming to get a hold of that. And then I just click, boom, and it took down its health. Click, click, and notice the timer bars, those, and the flashing. Holy cow, I like it a lot. Okay, so that's what I've been up to. And that actually, overall, the logic of killing those guys took a lot. Plus, blah blah blah. So, and then these things don't disappear either. I've got a lot more coding to do, and I kind of stopped working on it. But here's what I do. I developed, this is called Docky. If you go the Linux route, go Linux Mint, get Docky installed on your system. I can't use Linux without Docky because it looks so pretty. Now I'm opening it up. Aptana, it's my IDE. And you use IDEs if you have a big project. Okay. Now here's this app. Like, here's what it looks like. It's all pretty much JavaScript right now. There's no like back end. There's no databasing. But ideally, this will become a massive multiplayer online game with social aspects, and it'll be very, very cool. But I don't think I'm going to carry this project that far, because there's so much else in the world that needs to be addressed, and this is just such a small thing, and it's so time consuming, and it stopped being fun. But here's my JavaScript for it. Somehow I disabled, a long time ago, I disabled the intro. Hold on. Let me stop looking through my phone. And I want to say it's an m.js or globals. Let's try globals. Debug mode, false. Okay, so here's what the code looks like, and it's all in these different JavaScript files. Have a look at my classes. This is where it gets fun. You have hero class and a mob class. I think they're both inheriting from a unit class, so it's all object-oriented. Here's a look at the unit class. Ooh, lots of code, right? So they've got positions, X, Y positions. They've got IDs, right? Unique identifiers. They got names that get popped into here or into here or whatever. And that's like the class. Even though it's JavaScript, I use class-oriented JavaScript because it's cool. You inherit the class when you need to. So this unit class is actually, it has some methods on it too, like I don't remember any of this, and it looks all nasty because of my IDE, but get basic stats, blah blah blah. Yeah, there's a lot of code. Combat actions, does it have spells, blah blah blah. Then let's go into hero. Okay. And then unit.call, so it's actually calling this unit thing and being like, yeah, you're a unit now, bud. And So that's how it's inheriting unit, and it passes along, you know, this type, ID, blah, blah, blah. And then these things are added to that, I want to say, abstract class. So unit's an abstract class, and here's a concrete class because you can instantiate an actual hero. Okay, after a lot more like bungling around, I found m.js is the place to go. Here is actually where it starts. Okay, so it's calling load, which must be defined up above. So on and so forth. So let's go up to load. Here we go. And then it's set up class objects. I don't know what that does exactly. Image title screen, new image, and then it creates an image, right, gets it ready, load battle backgrounds, load the mobs, load heroes, set up audio, important. Oh, I have to change it so it doesn't use, I invented the audio library that this uses, but then some people came along and I think they stole my idea, and then they just did better at it because they have a lot more time where they're getting paid to do it. And so now I have to use their well-tested JavaScript library. Anyway, so that's what happens when you load, and then it does init. I don't know where that is. I don't know what that's doing. And anyway, here's where debug mode is set to true. Let's pretend we're actually playing through. Okay. We save that. And now we get the pleasure of refreshing this page, and you're going to see the loading screen for Initial Fantasy. It's actually not made in 1991. This was made in 2011, 2012, something like that. And it's got a very jiveable video game remix of Final Fantasy. I don't know when to hit stop. This video is getting so long though. Alright, I'm gonna hit stop. Okay, I hit enter, and now we jump straight into the battle screen because that is what I left off on. And realistically, boom, 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 boom. I invented the ability to to use Chrome's Web Audio API. Not really. Chrome invented that ability, but yeah. You can see health isn't being removed from these players here. I worked on the animation, so that's where I left off, and this is really interesting the way the animations work. Because when you look at it, can we just pause animations for a second? Hold on. Ah, really? What? Okay, Chrome is too good at doing stuff, but stop blinking. Here, look at this dude. See? Look at everything, all of his pixels, right? Oh, come on, Google. There, look at all of his pixels, right? He's got particularly, notice the black pixels. Ugh. Okay, notice the black pixels, right? Now I'm going to have her move, and now we're going to look, and we're going to see that all of his black pixels, every single one of them, changes from black to that gray color. See what she's flashing to gray. So I'm just going to make him start flashing now. Everything becomes gray, and then it goes back to all of the gray colors become black again. That's the effect that I'm using. So it's basically, you know, it finds all pixels that are black, turns them to, you know, 0, 0, no, 255, 255, you know, gray. Actually, it would be something like CCC. That's what it turns them into. And it just so happens that the colors, the two colors that I'm using, don't appear anywhere except in the borders. And I think that's how the game literally does it too. So I don't have to muck around with a whole bunch of sprites where I manually color them. I really just have to rip the sprite once and then apply the effects over them. And that's cool. That's legitimately cool. I didn't realize how you see the effects and you're like, oh, that would be easy, just swap out the sprites or whatever. But if you're not swapping out sprites, it's actually a really interesting kind of game. It takes a lot of time, takes a lot of energy, but it's fun. And let me refresh this really quickly, and you will see that I was trying to make them flash. Let's see if they flash. No, he faded out though, I believe, or my phone's weird. No, he didn't fade out. Hold on. Okay. You know what else I did? Another effect, and it's called hover. Okay. So he's got the effect going right now. Notice he's going up, down, up, down, up, down. Shadow gets dropped under him at a certain rate, and it goes in and out and in and out, and it's really cool. It's another effect, and it's compatible, it's parallel to the way that the selected function is applied. And of course you can have two effects. And ideally this becomes a massive multiplayer game where you can have like, this guy starts on fire, right? Alright, each of these is like one of your buddies in real life, and they're like, click, target him, start targeting him, right? Even though it's 2D, it's going to be really fun. Then they're like, alright, do a spell chain or whatever on this dude. And then like he has like a ring of fire going around him because the mage like did a ring of fire, and then he's doing like some claw thing, and so there's like claw marks going through him back and forth and back and forth, and then finally he does like a sword through the mob, and all those effects get rendered at the same time. That's what's tricky about it. You need to make sure multiple effects can be achieved at the same time. Some effects move the mob just a little bit, like he goes back a little bit. Seeing that it's 2D though, it's kind of, it's only going to get so good, you know, and that is a bummer, and maybe that's part of why I stopped. Anyway, that's what I was up to, and it's okay, it's pretty cool. Oh, and a cover.
Japan, till I get lost, doesn't anything with a graveyard town, turn across, yeah, doesn't mind me anything. I like studying faces in a parking lot, doesn't mind me anything. I like driving backwards in the fog, doesn't mind me anything. Things that I love, things that I lost, things that sacred, that I judge. I won't lie no more, you can bet. Don't wanna learn what I need to forget. I learned gypsy moths and radio talk, 'cause it doesn't mind me of anything. I like gospel music and candy applause, 'cause it doesn't mind me of anything. I like colorful clothing in the sun, 'cause it doesn't mind me of anything. I like coloring nails, speaking in tongues, 'cause it doesn't mind me of anything. Things that I loved, things that I lost, things that
That was Audioslave. Doesn't remind me. Thanks for listening. It's cool catching up with you again, Baz. You're awesome.